Welcome to Bobby Does Recaps. This is everything you need to know before Silo Season 3. All right, so picture this. Nobody knows what year it is. Mankind is living in a giant underground bunker, 144 stories deep, and it has been told by the people running the show that the outside world is a toxic wasteland. The air will kill you. The dirt will kill you. Basically, everything that isn't this silo will kill you. So, you stay inside. You do your assigned job. You follow the rules. You make bunker babies. And you absolutely do not question any of it. Naturally, someone's about to question all of it. We start with Sheriff Holston Becker and his wife Allison. Nice couple, happy life. They want a baby. And they now have the clearance to get pregnant. So they visit the silo's fertility clinic, and a doctor tells them the birth control implant has been removed. Great, except this is their third try, and there's still no baby. A woman named Gloria tells Allie that it's a conspiracy and she was never meant to have a child, but her and Holston just think she's a conspiracy theorist. But later, Allie meets a computer tech guy named George Wilkins. He has a forbidden relic, a hard drive, just like a hard drive. On it, silo blueprints and tons of other stuff. Most importantly, there's video footage showing the outside world as lush, green, and absolutely beautiful. Absolutely nothing like the dead wasteland on every screen in the silo. Allie decides she's done being lied to and wants the truth. She acts on a hunch and cuts the implant out of her arm. At home, by herself, dirty knife, absolutely insane, but she was completely right. The implant was never removed. She'd been deliberately kept from having a child. So now she's pretty confident everything's a lie. She stands up publicly and says the 4 words that function as a death sentence in this world. I want to go out. The pact, which is this rule book of laws the silo lives by, states that if someone says those words, they must leave the silo. She gets suited up, walks outside confident, cleans the external camera sensor, but then collapses dead. Why? We'll get back to that. Now, we fast forward 2 years. George Wilkins turns up dead. Suicide, supposedly. But Juliette Nichols, a mechanic who lives way down in the guts of the silo, insists that George was murdered. Holston digs into her claims and, with Juliette's help, finds George's secret workshop in the very bottom of the silo. Holston realizes George and Allison were working together on that hard drive prior to her asking to go out. Over the next few months, Holston puts it all together, and instead of arresting anyone or writing a report, he says the same words, I want to go out. But before he leaves, he scratches a single word into the back of his badge, truth. He also names his replacement. See, in this world, the former sheriff normally chooses the next sheriff. So who's his pick to replace him as sheriff? You guessed it, Juliette. Holston gets suited up, walks outside, and his visor shows the same beautiful green world Allison saw. He walks up to the camera, cleans it, and then, because he does believe the air is fine, he takes his helmet off. But it turns out it's not fine. The air is toxic. The world really is a wasteland. Holston crawls across the dirt to Allie's body and dies next to her. Now, just a heads up, in the show, we don't actually find out the world is toxic until the actual end finale. But it is important to know because it means this lie goes both ways. The outside really is deadly, but someone built those suits to project a fake green world so that the condemned would actually go out and willingly clean the camera. Possibly the suit was designed to comfort you on the way out, or just a way to ensure people keep cleaning the camera lens. But we'll come back to that later. Afterwards, Mayor Ruth Jahns and Deputy Sheriff Sam Marnes travel way down to the lower levels to offer Juliette the sheriff job. At first, she says no. Then she sees the badge Holston left behind. Truth scratched into the metal, and something shifts. She takes the job. On the trip back up, Ruth quietly tells Sam she has feelings for him. It's a really sweet moment, But it's short-lived because Ruth collapses on the return home, poisoned, and she doesn't make it. Sam barely has time to investigate before he's ambushed and taken out too. Within a matter of days, Juliette has lost every ally she has up top. Enter interim mayor Bernard Holland, the head of IT. Calm, reasonable, sensibly supportive. Spoiler, he's not, but we'll get there. There's a whole lot that goes on in the investigation, but we're going to hit the hot points. Juliette finds a hidden file left behind by Holston before he walked out. She tracks down a woman named Regina, a relic dealer, who gave George a travel book with pictures of the old world. Real photos, trees, blue skies, animals, things that people in the silo have never seen. And then Juliette discovers something that changes the game. Most of the mirrors in the silo have cameras in them. Enter Sims. He's this creepy, very scary enforcer that runs Judicial's shadow hit squad. He's been watching everything. And in the middle of all of this, she unearths something very personal. Her mother, Hannah, was a surgeon who secretly built a microscope to save a rabbit. It was a test to treat the same heart condition that had killed Juliette's brother. Yeah, for some reason, creating a device like that is illegal in the silo. So Judicial raided them, destroyed it, and Hannah was left believing her husband, Dr. Pete Nichols, had told on them. Their family fell apart. Hannah died carrying that resentment, but Pete didn't tell on her. The cameras in the mirrors are how Hannah got caught. Pete was innocent the whole time. Also, around this time, she finally finds the hard drive Holston hid for her. Juliette goes to Bernard Holland, tells him everything, and asks for help. But it turns out he's the one who's been behind everything. Bernard is the big bad guy. Sims is just his enforcer. The whole silo is secretly run by Bernard and the IT department. They trap her, arrest her, take the hard drive, but on the walk up, Juliette notices her deputy, Paul Billings, fighting a hand tremor, a degenerative condition called the syndrome. She sees her chance. She breaks free, grabs her bag, and leaps off the railing. She survives, of course. After that, she does the most crazy thing possible. She hides inside Sim's apartment. She accesses the hard drive using Sim's high-security computer. First, she finds a video from George, a confession. He loved her. And before he died, he found something big at the bottom of the silo. The second thing she finds is POV footage from a previous cleaner shot from inside the suit, showing the same fake green world through the visor. Now, don't forget, we know that it's a lie, but Juliette doesn't. At this point, she thinks the world outside is like the video. With the help of some rebels, Juliette uses a power outage to run the footage on every screen in the silo, all of them. But it only displays for a few seconds. Bernard kills it as soon as he can. Most people in the silo didn't see the broadcast, but a good amount did. Juliette gets caught again, and this time Bernard makes her an offer. Walk outside quietly, no trial, no hearing, and he won't touch anyone she loves. And as a bonus, he shows her surveillance footage of George's death. And this part's kind of rough. George didn't get pushed. He jumped. He chose to die rather than give up what was on the hard drive. Juliette takes the deal. Before Julia gets sent out, her old mentor, Martha Walker, who hasn't left her apartment in 25 years, steps outside for the first time, tracks down a contact in supply, and quietly swaps out the heat tape on Juliette's suit. This is the standard tape every cleaner gets when they go outside. It's designed to break down fast. Martha gets it replaced with heavy-duty mechanical-grade tape. The good stuff. Now, it's finally time, and Juliette walks outside. Her visor floods with that beautiful fake green world. She, of course, refuses to clean the camera, walks right past it, reaches down and touches what looks like a rock, but her hand goes straight through it. It's a hologram. She watches the birds circling in the distance and realizes They're moving at the same exact loop the birds in George's video did. It's the same video on repeat. The green image flickers, glitches, goes out, and disappears to reveal what's really out there. The world is a wasteland, lifeless and toxic. But Juliette is still breathing. The heat tape is holding. She's surviving longer than any cleaner ever has. She walks up the hill, looks out across the dead earth, and freezes. It's not one silo out there. There are dozens, maybe more, identical bunkers scattered across the landscape as far as she can see, and the ruins of an old city barely visible in the distance. That's one hell of a cliffhanger, because that's where Silo Season 1 comes to an end. Season 2. We pick up right where Season 1 ended. Juliette had gone over the hill. The fake green world projection died, and she saw dozens of other identical silos. She follows the trail of human skeletons to one of the other silos and forces her way inside. Now, we're in a neighboring bunker, Silo 17. Same layout, but no power, no people, no nothing. Just silence, bodies everywhere, and the word lies written on the cafeteria screen. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. Her suit's oxygen runs out almost immediately, so she has no choice. She smashes the helmet visor with a crowbar. Thankfully, the air inside is breathable. She sheds the suit and starts exploring. She tries to get into IT, but falls into the flooded lower levels and gets a nasty arm wound. But then she hears something unexpected, music playing somewhere. She follows it to a heavily fortified vault door, tries to open it. A slot opens. A man with mismatched eyes stares out and very calmly threatens to kill her if she touches the door again. Eventually, the man, who calls himself Solo, opens up. He's been living alone in the vault for decades, ever since the bloody worker rebellion wiped out everyone. And then he drops the season's first massive bomb. There are 50 silos. 50. Identical. Isolated. Each one filled with people who have no idea the others exist. I know. Back in Silo 18, Mayor Bernard Holland cracks open a secret foundational guidebook called The Order to find out what the protocol is when a cleaner refuses to clean. The answer? Prepare for war. He slaps a curfew on the entire silo, puts everyone connected to Juliette under heavy surveillance, and delivers a very polished, very manipulative speech, basically saying the high-grade tape was his idea and promising future exploration outside. His speech doesn't work, and a rebellion starts to form in Mechanical. And JL, Juliette Lives, starts appearing on the walls throughout the silo. Bernard enlists the help of Judge Meadows, but after getting what he needs from her, he invites her to a private dinner, promises she can go outside, but then poisons her food instead. Meanwhile, Knox, Shirley, Walker, and Walker's ex-wife Carla head up to meet with Meadows in an attempt to de-escalate. They get to Meadows' apartment and find her dead. They've been set up. So now it's a mad dash. Carla surrenders herself to buy the others time. Knox and Shirley get pulled to safety by Camille Sims, Robert Sims' wife of all people. Then they basically bungee jump straight down the center column, while Walker just slips away unnoticed because nobody really recognizes her. After they escape, Bernard quietly demotes Sims by promoting him to judge, stripping him of his real power. Back in Silo 17, Solo and Juliette create a makeshift underwater breathing apparatus using an old pump organ called a harmonium. And they use it to retrieve an old firefighter suit, which she plans to repurpose into an outside suit. While they search for the helmet, she finds a painted photograph of a young boy labeled Solo. The kid in the photo looks nothing like the man she's with, so she confronts him about it. He flies into a crazy rage. She runs and continues the search alone. She finds the helmet. Nice, one problem solved. But her arm wound has gotten worse and she passes out. When she recovers, Solo refuses to return her suit unless she fixes a broken water pump in the flooded lower levels first. She reluctantly dives down and fixes the pump. On the way back up, her rope gets cut and her oxygen stops pumping. When she surfaces, Solo is gone. There's a bloody arrow. She realizes that someone else is in this silo. It turns out to be a few teenagers and a baby, children of people who had survived after most of the population left the silo. One of them shot Solo. The teenagers claim that Solo is a cold-blooded killer, and this is where we get the backstory. Turns out Solo's real name is Jimmy. When the rebellion happened, he was just 12 years old. His father, head of IT, locked him in the vault to protect him. Jimmy was forced to watch through the glass as the rebel sheriff shot his father. Years later, when the teen's parents tried to break into the server room and started shooting at him, Jimmy cut off their air supply. He wasn't cold-blooded. He was just scared. Juliette mediates. Jimmy explains, through tears, the teens forgive him, and Jimmy invites them into the IT vault where he shows them music and ice cream. He also gives Juliette a working suit. Back in Silo 18, we meet Lucas Kyle. Bernard names him his official shadow, his apprentice. He's tasked with cracking a coded letter from a man named Salvador Quinn. He tracks down Quinn's personal copy of the pack, the Book of Quinn, and cracks the cipher inside. What he finds completely rewrites everything. History says the rebels wiped the servers and burned the books over 140 years ago, but that's not what happened. In order to stop the rebellion and prevent something called the Safeguard, Quinn intentionally wiped servers, burned all the books, and blamed the rebels for both. He then laced the entire silo's water supply with a memory-erasing drug to deliberately wipe the collective consciousness of 10,000 people and force them to forget everything they knew. Everything these people know about their history is an engineered lie. But he's not done. Lucas continues down the rabbit hole. He discovers a massive circular vault door at the bottom of the silo. There, he is confronted by an AI voice known as the algorithm. The algorithm implies that it has total camera surveillance throughout the entire silo and has directly gate-kept previous truth seekers like Salvador Quinn and Mary Meadows. The entity delivers a terrifying ultimatum. If Lucas exposes the existence of the AI or anything he has seen down there, an automated safeguard protocol will be initiated. This is a built-in kill switch, a hidden system designed to flood the silo with poison gas and completely wipe out all 10,000 residents. Back in Silo 17, Jimmy and Juliette find the blueprints for the safeguard protocol. It's a massive hidden pipe system running through the silo's walls, engineered to flood the silo with lethal gas on command from an outside authority nobody in the silo even knows exists. The safeguard protocol is not a warning. As far as we can see, it's a failsafe, possibly put in place to protect the other silos. But up to this point, we just don't know for sure. Juliette suits up, promises Jimmy she'll never stop trying to come back, and heads outside. Over in Silo 18, tensions are at an all-time high. The rebels are close to starving. A plan forms to take over IT. Walker, Knox, Shirley, and Billings stand in Walker's apartment and loudly, clearly detail a plot to blow up the generator. This is all for the cameras because they know Bernard's watching. Bernard takes the bait and dispatches every raider he has down to mechanical. But little does he know, that's exactly what they want. Here's the real plan. Juliette's father, Dr. Pete Nichols, smuggles explosives up the center column. But unfortunately, he loses the timer on the way up, forcing him to sacrifice his life and cross the wires himself. In the blink of an eye, the stairs between levels 90 and 92 explode. All of Bernard's raiders are now trapped in the bottom half of the silo. The rebels control the top. The rebels had communicated the plan using mechanical hand signals, the silent language workers use to talk over loud machinery, creating the real plan right under Bernard's nose. We were led to believe Walker betrayed the rebels earlier, but turns out that was not the case. Meanwhile, Robert Sims races to the IT vault with his family. The AI addresses him directly, orders him and his son to leave, says only Camille, his wife, can stay. It appears the algorithm has chosen her to take over IT. Robert Sims spent his entire life being Bernard's enforcer in hopes of one day being the head of IT. Turns out he's not the person for the job. You almost feel bad for him. Almost. Upstairs, an angry mob is pushing towards the airlock. But Juliette appears on the cafeteria screens, live from outside. She cleans the camera and holds up a note saying, "Not safe. Do not come out." The airlock opens and Bernard's there waiting for her. He's armed and clearly spiraling, convinced that there's no saving any of this. Juliette tells him she knows about the gas pipes, and she has an idea of how to shut down the safeguard before it kills everyone. And for 1 second, it feels like they might actually save everyone before the credits roll. But nope, an automatic incinerator sequence is engaged. Walls of fire on every side, both of them trapped, cut to black. This show and the season cliffhangers are rough. Wait, hold up. Did the next show start autoplaying? No, it's a flashback. It's a gloomy night in Washington, D.C. A young congressman from Georgia sits across from a reporter named Helen. There's a security guard at the door scanning everyone for radiation. Helen leans in quietly and asks about a dirty bomb, about Iran, about whether the government plans to retaliate. It's the world before the silos. And for the first time, we have a clue to what ended it. And that's where Silo Season 2 comes to an end. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to recapping another show for you very soon.